As an ADHDer, in relationships, do you struggle knowing how to ask for your needs to be met? Trying to figure out the right combination of words to get someone to listen or to simply ask without it causing a fight? In this video, I'm going to break down how to get your needs met and be assertive in ADHD relationships. And I have had a lot of challenges with this in the past. A lot of the time, I just kind of kept quiet and didn't open my mouth, which was not the healthiest option. So I think you're going to find some really useful stuff from this video. So as ADHDers, we can struggle with doing things the normal way. Some things that can seem simple to other people can be a challenge for us. For example, tedious tasks such as organizing, cleaning, planning, they're not really engaging to our brain. Other people can struggle to understand that. And especially as we learn more and more about our own brains, speaking to others, especially neurotypical people, about our experience can be tough. So communicating places where you may need a different type of support, a little bit of extra help, can be a struggle, especially when we can already feel like a burden on other people. Asking for help can already feel like we're asking too much. So what can happen is we can jump between people pleasing, or it can go the opposite way and we can ask in the wrong ways. So we can fall into one of two different types of communication. We can be passive, which is sort of staying silent, putting all the decisions on the other person, not initiating conversations. This is all very passive communication. And this is putting all of the communication responsibility on the partner. Then we can go over to aggressive communication, which is things like blaming, making demands, giving ultimatums, getting upset. This is very aggressive communication. And we can jump back and forth between the two, not being assertive at any point. So we can really struggle to be assertive with asking for any sort of adjustments that are reasonable to allow your partner to better meet your needs. So what is the middle ground? Well, the middle ground is being assertive. And being assertive is the exact center of being able to state what you need, what you would like, without any shame, without any worry, and without being aggressive or passive. But this is obviously easier said than done. It's never just what you do, it's how you do it. You know, having these discussions is never easy, and to try to be assertive as an ADHDer is something that is an ongoing process. It's not some one and done thing. This is something that you need to practice. It needs to be done in small steps to get out of your comfort zone and build that confidence in being able to understand what your needs are and being able to express them without fear or shame. So before we jump into how to be assertive, if you do want more relationship tools, then make sure you join me on my free bootcamp. Come and join us by clicking on the link in the description down below. So you can recognize where you struggle. So for example, like we said, mundane tasks, planning, organizing, prioritizing, focusing in conversations, things like that. So these are the places where you could do with some more support. But recognize the difference between needs and wants. The wants are nice to have, but they're not essential for the relationship's health. So it's important to make sure that you're being assertive about your needs rather than trying to be aggressive about your wants. And when you do think about your needs, don't be locked into one idea or one solution in your mind. Make sure that you are approaching these things being open to your partner's suggestions and alternative solutions as well. You know, sometimes we can sit and think about what our needs are and we come up with this perfect solution in our head, but it doesn't actually really include our partner in this, or it doesn't include their ideas, or you could be missing things from the solution. So if you're coming in locked on to one single idea, then the conversation's not going to go anywhere because you've already made your mind up. So in order to be assertive without being aggressive, it's really important to make sure that you're including your partner, you're listening to your partner's ideas and suggestions and brainstorming together to find creative solutions to the challenges, making sure that you're both involved in this. And from this flexibility, this can lead to better outcomes for both, for the team. Remember, changing your mind and being flexible is not a sign of weakness. This is actually a sign of growth. One of the 4 crucial relationship skills that I speak about in this video I'll link to above is being able to be a good student. And this is being a good student of the relationship. So being able to learn what works for both of you rather than one single person is very, very important. And that brings me on to the next point, which is approaching with a teamwork mindset. Sometimes we can come with one goal in mind, our own personal goal and our own personal needs, but setting goals together actually helps to foster communication and the relationship in general. Aiming for the goal of the happiness of the team takes more than one single discussion and one single idea. So this is both of your responsibilities in order to make sure that you're looking out for the team and you're keeping that on track. One of the fundamental ways to be assertive is to make sure that you're using I statements. So these are I feel, from my understanding, as far as I know, this is non-violent communication. And this is being able to express your thoughts and feelings and ideas without pointing fingers, without saying, you did this, you need to do this, you need to change this. In speaking in I statements, this is sharing your own personal perspectives and showing that you understand that it's only one perspective and that there's another perspective out there, which is your partner's. Next, make sure as you're approaching these subjects, highlight the benefits. So without having any sort of ultimatums or threats, this is where you get to be a salesman about your idea. So rather than approaching it saying, if you don't do X, then Y will happen. If you don't do this, then the relationship will be terrible. Flip it on its head. Instead of giving ultimatums and threats, if you don't get your needs met, show the benefits of what would happen if you did have appropriate support. And this stops the communication from sounding like a threat or like you're going to leave your partner if they don't act in the right way. And you're actually just showing, hey, the relationship will grow in this way and it will benefit both of us if we can figure out the solution to this problem, if we can figure out the way around this challenge. You're essentially discussing the consequences as a natural outcome of both of you working on getting your needs met in the right way. The more that you emphasize the benefits and the cooperation rather than causing conflict, the more likely you are to come to a decent solution. So highlight the positive impact of these changes on your relationship. Share from your perspective the improvements that you noticed when tweaks and changes are made, and focus on the strengths of your partnership and how this can be enhanced. And again, approach this with an open mind and not locked into one idea. And simply make sure that you're working on this as a win-win. So aim for solutions that address both partners' needs. Getting your needs met doesn't mean that your partner needs to compromise. The more that you spend time gathering data and taking the time to understand what your partner needs as well as your own needs, the more that you'll be able to work towards a win-win. Remember that approaching subjects like this is an opportunity to strengthen the relationship. In being assertive and actually approaching these difficult conversations, you're actually creating more and more opportunities to bond and to strengthen the relationship. Listening to concerns, digging into needs and feelings, and actively listening to your partner without interrupting, the more chance you are of building that success. But above all else, make sure that you have a mutual agreement. This is agreeing on changes together, ensuring that both partners are fully on board. And if one partner isn't fully on board, then it means that you need to spend more time in data collection to figure out the way to get that win-win. And getting your needs met is also going to be a constant iteration. So it's not going to be one solution and then it's done forever. It will be constantly adjusting and iterating between you and your partner in order to make sure that things are flexible and navigating according to what's happening at the time, as well as your partner's needs as well. Make sure that you're revisiting and adjusting plans as needed based on both of your feedback. Remember that communication is the key to overcoming any relationship obstacle. And if you want a deeper dive into ADHD communication tools, then I've got a video for you right here. I'll see you over there.